After church, we're going to the Pizza Ranch, some of us. She knows who I'm talking about, too. She's probably already drooling. So. My mother's favorite place. This week, I was trying to decide, what do I want to talk about today? And I had a brainstorm. The human mind. It's one of the most incredible creations God has ever made. It's called our brain. It controls all of us. Everything in our body is controlled by this little thing called a brain. Psalms 26 starts out, this is David praying, he says, God, examine my heart and my mind. And then I thought, do we really want God to examine our heart and mind? That means he knows everything we're thinking, everything we've done, everything we're going to do. He knows every nasty thought you've ever had. That's kind of scary. It kind of puts a rein on everything we do and say. And then Matthew 22:37. It's called the greatest commandment. Somebody said, teacher, what is the greatest commandment in the law? Then Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and all your mind. That's the first and the greatest commandment. And the second is almost just as important. Love your neighbor as yourself. And I thought about this. Love the Lord your God with all your heart. Your heart. He's not talking about that pumping organ. He's talking about your inner being. Do you love God? If you love God, you will love others. All your soul. I call it the house that you live in, or that lives in you. It's the soul. But then he says mind. This is the one we take for granted. Everything we do, everything we say, that's your mind. And then in Acts 4:32 it says, Christians are to be like-minded. Our last annual meeting was incredible. We had a lot of people there, and everybody was like-minded. We all felt the same, we thought the same, we did the same, we voted the same. It wasn't somebody trying to run everybody else. God was in control. Now the thing that we forget sometimes, we control our minds, whether you believe it or not. Our minds are capable of remembering more than you can imagine. I remember when I was very, very young, 60-some years ago, I can remember my first dog. I can remember my first car. And I imagine most guys can remember their first car. 4 cylinders. 40 mile a gallon. Might get 70 down a hill. It was a fabulous car. We went somewhere, guess what we took? My car. We'd put you guys won't understand this, you young one. We'd put a quarter or 50 cents worth of gas in it and we'd go all day. Can't do that anymore. It even had this thing called windshield wipers. If you met a highway patrol and he had his radar turned on, the wiper would go on by itself. It was neat. Remember that old Simca? Like that thing. And then somebody turned in front of me and totaled it. But these are the things you remember when you're young. I bet most people can remember their first date, or their first kiss, their first pet. How does the brain do this? Your brain also can remember the good things and the bad. This is where we have to take control of our brains. We mold this brain whether you believe it or not. Do you want to dwell on the good or the bad? That's your choice. We were at a ball game this week, watching one of my granddaughters play. It was a tournament, kinda. It started getting to me because these kids are little kids, okay? And I thought, can't you tell when you're double dribbling or traveling? Don't pass it if the defense person is right in front of you. Don't stand there and hold on to the ball. And it was really working on me. And then I decided, I'm missing it. I'm here to enjoy this. And I turned my mind around and I started laughing at some of the things they did. It was hilarious. But they're just learning. Do we want to remember the good or the bad? It's up to you. The reason I wanted to pick on this, when you look at somebody else, what do you see in that? I was at a meeting here a few weeks or months ago, and somebody said something about one of my friends. Do you know what they did? And they told everybody else what they did. That was 30 years ago. We need to forget the bad things people do and dwell on the good. And I felt kind of bad. And I'm glad that person wasn't there. Our minds. It's incredible. But you know what? God can read your mind. He knows what you're thinking right now. Are you thinking that blueberry dessert sure going to taste good? Or is the chicken going to be good? He knows what we're thinking. Or I wish he'd hurry up. I got a party to go to. Oh, the Super Bowl's today. Do you know that? Who's going to watch it? One. Okay. God can read your mind. He knows what you're thinking. But Satan cannot read your mind. He's not capable of doing that. God didn't let him do that. And I'm sure glad. But Satan can change your mind, I guarantee you. Look at Adam and Eve. Or Pharaoh. I could go a long list of people. Judas. Satan changed their mind. They didn't make them do it. We do that. He also gave in our minds something that's really incredible, and I really enjoy it. The ability to dream. Night dream and daydream. And I'm a dreamer. It's pretty easy for me to just go sitting under a shade tree at 75 degrees out, sitting by a lake fishing, and a nice breeze blowing by. I can do that. I can picture that, and I can enjoy that. But one of the things I like to dream about, and it's very hard for me, what is heaven really going to be like when we get there? I love the song, I Can Only Imagine. One of my favorites. And it's not that old of a song. We actually saw the show with the guy that wrote the song and why he wrote it. Can you imagine what it's going to be like when you get to heaven? When you don't have any more stress, no more temptation, Satan isn't after you, your neighbor's not after you, the government's not after you. We get in front of Jesus, what are we going to do? Are we going to dance? Are we going to say, hallelujah? Are we going to fall to our knees, or are we just going to go? I don't know. I can only imagine. God puts that in our brain. Our world seems to dwell on the negative. You notice that? You listen to the news anymore? I'm sorry. I almost never listen to the news. But you listen to it. Do they see the positive? How many people were healed at the hospital this week? How many people got new knees or new hips or shoulders? They don't tell you, do they? They tell you how many people died. How many people got COVID? Oh, by the way, 2 people got killed by you and I 2 weeks ago. That hit the news. They're from Mason City. That hit the news. How many people gave their life to Jesus last week in this town? Doesn't meet the paper. It's not there. Our world dwells on the negative, not the positive. That's what God said when he says, I'm giving this world for Satan. One thing they're trying to take out of the history books is the persecution of the Jews in World War II. That's history. And we learn from our past. We have the Lord's Supper. Why? To remember the past. The bad happened? Yeah. Jesus died on the cross. We know that. But that's not what we dwell on. We dwell on the fact that he rose again. And he's sitting at the right hand of God, and he's waiting for us. And he has patience. And sometimes that's something I lack, a little patience. I want things done right away. My wife has patience. Oh, you don't? Oh.
I want.
I told you about an old lady once. Should call her old, but she is. I was supposed to take her to church. Easter morning. Some of you know this story. Violet Hall. I never forgot Violet. Easter morning, I forgot Violet. She informed me. You know, this is the most important day of the year, Easter. I said, yes, I know. I'm sorry. I can't believe you forgot me on Easter of all days. You know, I'm not gonna forget it, but I'll forgive you. And she brought that up a couple times later. Do you remember when you forgot me? I said, yeah, I remember. I forgave you. She kept bringing it up all the time. You know what? Don't bring it up anymore. Christians, they need to renew their minds. Think positive thoughts, and I guarantee you will be happier in your life. Let me finish the story on Violet Hall. I have to tell you. She was a saint. She was my school teacher, Sunday school teacher. She used to get mad at my dad too, so I don't feel too bad. When he was young, he used to shoot the sparrows in her front yard. Oh, don't you shoot my birds. He shot her birds. So she got old and she went to a nursing home. She had 2 fake legs. And we were sitting there and talking to her, and she goes, I hope I get to heaven. This lady's gone to church all her life. She never missed. She was there for every function. I hope I get to heaven. You might want to shut that thing off right now, because I have to tell you a story. And it may affect